My name is Trisha Utterback. I am the Trade and Investment Representative who covers Europe, Middle East, Africa, and India here at the Governor's Office of Business and Economic Development in California. We're really pleased to have some great partners here to give this presentation on business opportunities in Lviv, as well as talk a bit about the trade mission that California will be participating in partnership with the state of Washington. I will introduce our colleague from Washington here shortly, but just to go over some of our housekeeping, we expect this to be a very dynamic webinar full of great information, and we will be pushing the time pretty closely. So we encourage you to submit your questions in the Q&A or in the chat. Tammy from Washington will be monitoring the chat and answering. Our speakers and presenters will be answering as we can, or we will be wrapping up the webinar with your questions at the end in a Q&A session. We hope that we end exactly on time, but if the questions are robust, some of our speakers have made themselves available to stay on for a little bit longer, or we will follow up with to your questions via email. So without further ado, I'd like to pass it on to my colleague Tammy.
Thank you very much, Trisha. Hello, everyone. My name is Tammy Lodit. I'm with Washington State Department of Commerce, International Trade. I am the staff person who will be leading Washington State delegation to Poland with this side mission into Lviv. And really excited to have a slate of very dynamic, experienced speakers about the business environment in Ukraine, as well as especially in the Lviv region. Really thank our speakers from Europe, because they are staying up later. It's prime dinner time over there. So thank you so much. I don't want to take up any more of the time. I hope you guys, the audience will submit questions in the Q&A. So we will, I will continue to monitor the questions and try to have the answers compiled together either towards the end of the webinar or afterwards, and we'll have a follow-up. So back to you, Trisha. Thank you.
Thank you, Tammy. And as a reminder, the folks on the call here, this is being recorded, and we will make this available online. So if there are any issues with that, please feel free to disconnect now. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our wonderful colleagues from the U.S. Commercial Service. We have Leon on. He's our trade counselor at the Lviv Embassy, and he and his colleagues will go over the business, Ukraine in general, and a little bit of a deep dive into some target industries in Ukraine. So Leon, if you could take it away.
Thank you, Trisha. I'm going to have my faithful colleague Stanislav pull up the PowerPoint here. And as he's doing that, let me just do a brief introduction. So indeed, my name is Leon Skarshinsky. I'm based in the U.S. Embassy in Kiev, Ukraine here, along with my team. We got Stanislav, Miroslav, and Yulia. They'll be talking to us in a little bit, following my points here. I'm pretty new. I've been to Ukraine for a whopping 1 month. So it's been quite the crash course on what's going on. I have to admit, I'm not an expert in everything, but I'm already learning just enough to be a little bit dangerous. So, I'm going to basically provide a brief overview, some thoughts on what I've picked up here, where I see trends going in the first month I've been here, and what that means for all of you. And then I'm going to let my experts take it away. So let's move to the next slide, please. There we go. Perfect. So there you go. That is Ukraine. Obviously, you've probably seen a map similar to this over and over in the news. Red part being where the conflict is, where Russia's taken territory, and where the conflict is a brewing right on the perimeter between the white and the red. One thing to keep in mind, indeed, Ukraine is a country at war. That said, life goes on as normal pretty much everywhere to the west of the red. Yet pretty major stuff happening closer to it. But Kiev, it's life is normal here. Cafes are open, people are going out. Roads are lots of traffic, the roads are clogged and all that. And when you move even further west to Lviv, where you will possibly be going, if you can't tell, it is kind of to the left of the U in Ukraine and under the D of Poland. So quite close to the Polish border. I was lucky enough to be there last week for an event called Brave One. It was this whole Miltech military technology event, and it was mind blowing. I'll talk about that at the very end. I don't want to get too ahead of myself. Next slide, please. Thank you. So, brief market overview. I don't really like reading from the slides, but it's basically a big country, the largest in Europe. Population 32 million, give or take. I'd say take a little bit at this point, being that there's a war going on. People have left the country. But expect them to come back when there is a ceasefire at some point. You've heard about the minerals deal that the Trump administration struck. Indeed, rich in natural resources here: lithium, cobalt, graphite, and zirconium. Big values. They're still figuring out what's there, what's in the ground, and there's going to be a lot of business focused on that moving forward, of course. Agriculture is another big industry. Exports feed more than 400 million people worldwide, the breadbasket of Europe. My last post was Africa, and you had grain coming in from Ukraine all the time when I was there. Huge market outside the borders there. You saw there was a number of countries bordering Ukraine as well. Ukraine is not a member of the European Union, but they're really looking to implement the policies, processes, procedures, and all sorts of things that would make them a good candidate at some point. So if anyone here has worked in some various European countries, expect Ukraine to be moving towards that, I could say. And yes, indeed, there's free trade agreements, which makes the movement of goods and services even easier. Next slide. There we go. So major factors, this is kind of hitting everything, hitting the good stuff. Great market potential. I kind of covered it all. Good growth, strategic location, skilled workforce, natural resources, and cultural and political ties. It's the first world. Anyone who's not been here thinking this is some kind of second world or some crazy Eastern Soviet style brutalist building country, it is, you might as well be in Europe when you kind of step outside, step into the cities and all that. The other thing I'm going to add is 500 billion. That is the price tag they're putting on rebuilding the country once there's a peace agreement, we're going to say. That's going to be huge. It's going to be open to U.S. companies, and of course you have me and the team here that's going to really push to make sure U.S. companies can compete, can come in here, and can really sell their wares, goods, and services. Next slide. You always get opportunities. With opportunities, you have challenges. And of course, the main one here, I think all four of those points can kind of be summed up as you're in a country that's still at war. It's the security situation. Things are normal during the day. Evenings, there are rocket attacks, drones, rockets. You drive through town, you will see buildings that have been hit over the past 2-3 years. And that is a fact of life, but life goes on. So I think obviously when there's a peace agreement, that would hopefully recess and even disappear into the background there. But again, the trigger for all these things you see here is the fact it's a country in conflict. You might read, you still hear rumblings about some corruption here and there, but again, compared to my last post and continent I was on, this is quite the well-run place, I can honestly say. Next slide, please. Okay, things to consider when you're coming into this market. So, the one thing we always say, and I say this in every post I've been in, you want a local agent or distributor. You want a local partner who can kind of help you navigate the various import-export processes, government regulations, and the likes. Other thing, there are certain processes, procedures you're going to have to navigate. So we'll kind of leave it at that there. Do your due diligence. If you're looking at a partner, if you've never exported to Europe before, you're probably best trying someone in the EU, get your feet wet, try it out, and then come into Ukraine. I'm going to say, I used to say high risk, high reward. No, it's I'd say middle, at this very point, middle risk, high reward. I often hear saying, if you're not in Ukraine now, it's too late. I'm not going to go that far. There's plenty of US companies here already. The trend you're seeing is that they don't have a full-time presence. So people who are interested in the market, they'll tend to kind of come on in, do a little riding around Kyiv, Lviv, some of the other cities, talk to potential partners, make some connections, then disappear for a month or 5 or 10, come back again. So it's really the courageous ones we say have a full-time presence. They have an office here and they have someone actually staffing it, really getting their web out, doing what they can do to really set the stage for when business takes off. That said, I have a big flow of people always knocking at our door, looking to do just what we're doing today, talk about the market, talk about what's going on. So yes, this Ukraine is in the radar, the sights of many companies. And if I can predict the future when that peace agreement comes, it's going to be a flood. So be aware of that. Next slide, please. And as we go there, I also want to mention you do have 2 organizations that do help U.S. companies. One is called the U.S. Ukraine Business Council. One's called AmCham, the American Chamber of Commerce in Ukraine. They are here, they're present, and they have a huge membership. So that's another, you do have resources here beyond me and the team at the U.S. Embassy. Let me go over some priority sectors we've identified. Energy and renewable energy. We're going to talk about that next with my colleague Miroslava. Construction infrastructure, that'll be Stanislav right after her. Agribusiness, agrotech. We're not going to talk about it today because we understand many of the viewers here don't really touch on that area, but that is somewhere we've identified given the big ag potential of Ukraine. Next slide. Defense and Miltech. This is huge. Let's just put it this way. You're back in America. You always hear about this drone thing happening. Yeah, it's high tech, it's innovative, it's different, it's a new way of fighting war. But then you come here, it is everywhere. It is like ceviche if you're in Peru or the food sector there. So pick your country and what they're known for. And this whole Miltech thing, that's the new term they're calling it, is all over the place. Again, I'll talk briefly about that at the very end. Raw minerals and mining, this kind of stems off from A, the potential, but B, the mining deal that the Trump administration has hammered out. Details are still pending, so please don't ask too many detailed questions on that one. And then, of course, we got IT and cybersecurity. So Yulia will talk about that. So that's my brief overview. Let's questions at the very end. I'll do my best to answer, but I'll probably be relaying a lot of this to the team as well. So with that, we're going to hop to Miroslava to talk about energy. She'll directly hand it to Stanislav, to Yulia, and back to me for conclusions. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Leon. Greetings, everyone. Yeah, I'm an energy specialist. And before I start, I just wanted to highlight some facts about Ukraine. Territory-wise, it's the size of Texas. We are #1 size in entire Europe in terms of underground and gas storage facilities. We built the largest nuclear power plant in entire Europe. Unfortunately, it's under occupation right now. And despite the war, Ukraine is #3 gas producing countries after Norway and the United Kingdom. So to understand the needs in any critical sector, you should understand the level of distraction that caused by full-scale invasion. During this 44 months of full-scale invasion, Russia directly hit Ukrainian energy infrastructure with over than 1,000 missile strikes direct. So in 2022, electricity distribution, transmission system was damaged the worst. 2023 and 24, the generation was heavily impacted, and Ukraine lost about 10 gigawatt of its generation capacity, or 42% of its generation capacity. 87 coal-fired plants, CHPs destroyed for good. And according to the Ministry of Energy data, direct losses, this is the data as of January 2025. Direct losses to Ukraine's energy sector is over $16 billion. Same data, same sources, informs that over 50 billion US dollars needed is for the restoration of energy sector. So for Ukrainian government, main focus now is to build better energy infrastructure. What's the main focus would be development of decentralized generation, and the breakdown is following. So development of renewable energy sources and balancing capacities, grid modernization, energy security and stability, and digitalization. And of course, to attract more investments. And so there are many financial opportunities exist now for large and medium utility scale projects. You can simply start with a World Bank, EBRD, DFC, UNDP, etc. Also, there exist immediate aid projects that are run by Spark, which is managed by Tetra Tech. Also, the European Union Solidarity Fund. So any upcoming tenders for the equipment supply, you are able to find over there. And though I would like to draw your attention to the Ukrainian business, which contributing into energy resilience while we're speaking. So as of today, 2 out of 5 Ukrainian businesses investing in energy. What they are building. So in 2024, about 20% of Ukrainian companies are already investing in renewable energy. For the comparison, in 2023, the number was only 6%. Even more businesses, about 40%, say they plan to invest into own energy independence in the near future. They show the greatest interest in solar, in wind, and of course in battery storage for the balancing needs, grid balancing needs. So this includes both large solar wind power plants and small household installations, which allowed energy to be produced closer to the point of consumption. So over 1 gigawatt of generating capacities is already installed since all the damages. And planned business plan to invest about over 700 million into its own energy independence. This is very briefly to summarize some but not all opportunities in energy sector. And with this, I would like to pass the floor to my colleague Stanislav to tell you about infrastructure and reconstruction. Thank you. Over.
Thank you, Miroslava. We'll continue also with starting with the damages. So construction sector, probably the most damaged sector in Ukraine. So for now, you can see on the slides the statistics of the beginning of 2025. Nearly $170 billion is estimated costs damaged of Ukrainian infrastructure. Resilient buildings amount to 60 billion, transport infrastructure almost 40 billion, over 26,000 kilometers of the roads and highways damaged, and estimated costs almost 30 billion, and railway transport infrastructure more than 4 billion. So all this damaged infrastructure require modern solutions and technologies. What we are looking forward will be important and useful for us. It's a prefabricated solution for rapid reconstruction, just nowadays, not waiting for a ceasefire of the or the end of war. Of course, it's energy efficient systems to lower energy use in different types of building, sustainable and recycled materials as a part of circular economy, and of course modern facade systems different panel systems or composite materials. Key construction materials that we needed in our upcoming and going actually construction is energy-saving materials, thermal insulation materials, aerated concrete, gas blocks, structural materials, cement, metal structure, bricks, glass, especially high quality float glass, and facade materials. As Miroslava as well mentioned, we need some decentralized energy facilities, so we need solar panels and relevant equipment. I just want to add that infrastructure construction sector of Ukraine is growing year to year, approximately from 3 to 5%, and all this process of restoration actually continue because we need to restore some infrastructure, for example, seaport infrastructure or rail transportation infrastructure very quickly, not waiting until the ceasefire or the end of the war. And I will stop on this and will pass my floor to my colleague Yulia. Please, Yulia.
Greetings, everyone, and great and best wishes from Kiev. Despite the destruction in infrastructure and energy sectors, Ukraine's IT sector remained one of the most resilient ones. With 2,000 IT companies operating currently in Ukraine and nearly 350,000 IT specialists, the market was able to generate $6.4 billion of export revenues in 2023. Right now, unfortunately, some of these numbers are going down, but it's because the clients are a little bit scared of the situation here, and they don't really understand how the business operates here and how we manage to fight and overcome the outages, the electricity outbreaks that we have had in the past, but not really right now. So it's a growing market. It's a digital state, and I've been covering this sector for 10 years, and I've observed how it's growing very fast with development of various clusters, a great startup ecosystem. Like right now, we have 26,000 startups, and the Ukrainian startup ecosystem ranks 46 in the global ranking, which is up 4 places since 2022, and is considered actually the second one in Central and Eastern Europe. The government is substantially supporting the development of the IT sector. It believes that it's one of the most promising and one of the sectors that will generate revenues and develop the economy. And they've published a strategy. It's called Win-Win Strategy. We will share the links where you will be able to see the updates on 14 prospective sectors. And I can just name a few. It's defense tech, med tech, agro-tech, biotech, ed tech, and a few others. And plus, we have a digital state. So we have a DIA application, which provides right now 150 online public services. So Ukraine is globally 5th country for digital public service development. And it's amazing how you can utilize this application and have all the documents on in your phone, and it's a very unique thing, and Ukraine is now even selling this product to other countries. But it's all about partnership, and they always say that US and Ukraine IT sectors need to collaborate. We do lack finance, we do lack capital to scale up and grow, but our talent is well known. We have a few unicorns, and perhaps you know such companies as Grammarly, GitLab, Genesis. Those are the companies that have Ukrainian roots. And of course, going through the war with Russia, we're also facing the cyber war here, and it's another aspect of our defense and struggle.
the number of cyber attacks increase every year. So for example, last year we had an increase of 70% compared to the previous year, and we had to face 4,300 cyber attacks. So Ukrainians are also learning how to fight the cyber attacks. We have that expertise, but we also need to partner with the American cyber companies to develop those technologies and to become stronger together. Mil tech, and defense tech is one of the strongest right now areas. And of course, Ukraine recently just announced that any company can apply for the real world battlefield conditions testing. So if you have a product, you can test your product or technology in a real battlefield conditions. And now I would like to pass the floor to Leon, who just recently attended Brave One, and he will also share his experience of talking and meeting various defense tech companies in Lviv.
Yeah, thanks, Yulia. Excellent introduction. So she said it all, really, IT stuff. It all applies to the Miltech sector there. But again, 1 month in country, Brave Tech. So it was essentially a trade show, an expo for the battlefield drones and technologies. And when we say that, it's basically, as someone who never delved into this, it's basically kind of 4 things. It's the drone itself that you always see. It's the brains in the drone. It's the communication systems. And it's the whole electronic warfare or counter-electronic warfare. So all the stuff trying to jam the drones and the missiles and all that. This was the 3rd iteration of Brave One, and people tell me it's just gone from something small to something big. It's a very dynamic area, but it's not for the faint-hearted. I won't get into too many details on what it's like, but bottom line, you have it's just so innovative. The technology changes every month, every 7 weeks or something, because it's a cat and mouse game where somebody figures out how to block something, someone finds a workaround, someone finds out how to jam, someone finds out how to get around the jamming. So it's there. The big complaint I've heard is U.S. companies are kind of testing those waters. But if they're not on the ground here, if they don't have a partner, they're likely having their technology as something that's already outdated. So where I've seen the success is basically some kind of angel investor, someone with a passion, someone who's teamed up on the ground here with a Ukrainian company doing this sort of stuff, where you can just have that dynamic system of constant innovation going. So yeah, it's just somewhere you'd really have to get here. And if that's your industry, you got to dive in here. You can't just sit at home on U.S. soil and hope that, yeah, maybe we're going to produce drones in America and we can hop on a big U.S. government contract. It's too dynamic to work that way. So I'll elaborate on that at some other point, or if someone has any questions. So with
Thanks,
that,
Leon.
you see us all there, and we'll hear you afterwards. Thanks.
Thanks, Leon. Thank you, team from Commercial Service. Next, I would like to invite our colleagues from the Lviv region and Lviv-California Chamber of Commerce. Mark-Dan?
Hi, everyone. It's a great pleasure to be with you tonight. Well, tonight in Ukraine, morning your side of the world. Now, let me briefly introduce myself. I am the managing partner of Artsinger. It's one of the leading Ukrainian law firms, probably the 3rd biggest. I am a lawyer. I am a previous governor of Lviv region. I was appointed by President Zelensky to be one in the first teams of his governors. And I am originally from here. I was born in Lviv, and throughout the first years of my international practice, I gained valuable experience in working in France, in Switzerland, in Sweden, and then I returned back to Ukraine, where I'm since the last 20 years. I'm also the Honorary Consul of Austria. I am one of the co-founders of Lviv-California Chamber of Commerce, and Natalia, who's the initiating founder, she will tell you more about the association now of the chamber. Now, Lviv is beautiful. Is that something that I wanted to tell to you? That is for sure the #1 most beautiful cities of Ukraine. That is for sure the #1 city in terms of quality of life, and that is for sure the reason why I stayed here. Now, if Lviv wouldn't be so beautiful, I would probably choose something different. But after Paris, after many other cities, after Stockholm and so on, I decided to come back here, and I haven't actually been sorry since then ever. Now, believe me, many of you might want to know how does life really look like in Ukraine. Now, life is, I wouldn't say normal, but everyone got used to the war. That may sound a little bit sad, but in the end of the day, that's just reality for us. And as you know, it is already almost 4 years now. That is a lot, and basically we are all very much used to knowing which type of threat is a real threat, which is not. The technology, as you have heard in Ukraine, is very advanced, and basically we can react promptly. Everyone knows already how to react, so it is, for a certain extent, for us now, business as usual. Now, what I would tell you is that Lviv region is indeed one of the most developed regions, and I'll show you a brief presentation. It is the most western part of Ukraine. Lviv is the biggest city in the western part of Ukraine, and basically it borders with the European Union. Now, that is the closest to European Union most developed region. Now, it combines dynamic economy, rich heritage, multicultural openness, strong scientific potential, and a strategic location. As you might know, it is even closer to Warsaw, the capital of Poland, which you will visit soon, than it is to Kiev. So basically, that also brings you very strong logistical opportunities. Now, if we speak about the total population, about 2.83 million, it has 73 territorial communities. It has 10 functional border crossing points, which is quite a lot. Now, during the war, 240 enterprises have been relocated, and here I will stop for a moment and tell you that basically a lot of business is being done in the Lviv region. If you look how the region has developed throughout the war, you will be amazed if you would make a comparison. Unfortunately, it has developed so because of the war, but still it is a fact. And then basically we have a situation where the local economy has increased substantially, and that is good. You have more people. You have about 300,000 to 500,000 internally displaced persons from other regions. This is good workforce. Ukrainians are generally very hardworking, and basically they are ready to step into new companies. And there's I wouldn't say a drastic demand. There is a fairly natural good demand of people looking for jobs. Now, if we move on, the transportation benefits I've mentioned, the logistics are very good here. We have a very good coverage of hard surface roads, so about everything, about 98%. The length of roads of national importance is also big, and still the projects I'm aware of, and I was aware of also as being the governor, I know that more highways are being projected, and they will come into life in the near future. Now, with foreign economic activities, Lviv region has risen from the 5th to 3rd position, and basically it's one of the regions which works the most for experts. If you would consider setting up a company here or relocating from a different country, then you have many advantages, such as cheaper labor costs, such as good infrastructure, such as the possibility to export. And that is why many companies choose the export possibilities from Lviv region. Now, if we speak about more zoned territories, then you have the coal microregion, you have the agglomeration microregion, which has more innovative-oriented enterprises. You have very good education institutions, primary logistics centers, and so on. There's also the mountainous microregion, if someone would be interested in valuable minerals and agro-industrial complexes in the mountains. Tourism, recreation is one of the options. Now, you wouldn't be the first ones to come. Of course, there's a big number of international companies already, many with whom I've worked for more than 15 years. Now you have Philip Morris, you have Carlsberg, you have Nexans, you have Fujikura. And so Leoni, there's a big number of different companies doing everything which you can imagine. And this is, of course, not the exclusive list. There are hundreds and hundreds of them, but those are just more for your use tonight. Now, the industrial sector, mining, processing, and quarrying industry, processing industry, supply of electricity, gas, steam, and conditioned air. Now, I would say that compared to other regions, the Lviv region is more middle industries, so there are less heavy industries, rather light industries are more present here. Now, the other thing I mentioned, education is a very strong thing. Now, agriculture historically has been a very good developed area. You've heard that Ukraine is called the breadbasket. Now, agro is booming, and actually, Ukraine has enormous potential for further development of agricultural area. Construction, even during the war, we've seen more and more objects being constructed, residential, commercial, and so on. So that is also very important. Now, if we move on further, IT, as you've heard tonight, it is true that Lviv is also the capital for IT companies. I think the numbers speak for themselves. You can take a look for a moment on the slide. And also during the war, it has increased. So the number of companies, of IT companies, has gone up. We move to another interesting slide, industrial parks. There's a big number of areas where you can benefit from the existing infrastructure. And the country also allows you to use the possibility of the so-called investment nannies. And this is for big investments over 12 million euro. And you can place your production in one of the industrial parks. Hopefully you'll be able to visit one of them when you are here. Now, in terms of defense, I will not stop here. You've heard a lot. In terms of Dia City and IT, basically, there is a special regime for IT firms. So make sure to inform all your friends who are in the IT area that this is really a hot place to do business, and you really get tax incentives and really incredible possibilities. Last but not least, do not be afraid to come to Ukraine. We live here every day. Life is wonderful here. Could be better. As soon as we win the war, it will get better, we are sure. Now, I will tell you that the governor's office will make sure you're safe here. There are plenty of possibilities to make sure your stay is safe. You'll stay in a hotel which has a very good shelter. Police escort would be possible if necessary, and then air alert systems are very much up to date. I will be concluding on this. I will only say thank you to the US citizens for being such a great partner to Ukraine. Thank you for all the support you're doing. We trust that together with you, we will win this war. Ukraine will stand. There's no doubt about that. And again, I'm very thankful, and I'll head over and transfer the floor to Natalia Nochina, who's the initiative founder of the Lviv-California Chamber of Commerce, and Natalia will take on from here. Thank you.
Thank you, Markin. Thanks, colleagues, for sharing your time with us, and thanks a lot for the interest to Lviv region and Ukraine. As Markin said, it's very important for us. And on this picture, you basically see the Hotel Leopolis shelter, the hotel that would be booked for you, and which is originally booked for you. And you see that the shelter in this hotel, in case of the missile alert, is more than beautiful. Yeah, it's very nice and comfortable, and all the facilities where our events will take place in Lviv, they all have the shelters. So in case of any urgency or some situation where we will need to have the shelter, we will go there, and everybody will be safe. So no worries about this. And just also to keep in mind that any alert for the missile attack or drones, we have an advance notification about such, and it takes longer than to any other region, so we all have a chance to prepare ourselves. So As Markin said, I'm head and co-founder of Lviv-California Chamber of Commerce. This is a newly established non-governmental organization which was established in response of the sister-state relations between California and Lviv region, which were established last year in 2024. And we here in Ukraine welcomed a lot this resolution, and we decided that that's the perfect opportunity for our regions to have a greater cooperation in the fields of economy, science, business, education, and culture. So we are here also in Lviv region to support any ideas that you might have or any project that you would like to develop, of course, in cooperation with Lviv Regional Administration, with GO-Biz, and with Consulate, and any other trade missions and support of United States government. I will tell a little bit about the trends of regional economy in the sphere of construction. And as Markin mentioned, there is a high number of people who were internally replaced from eastern and from southern Ukraine. So it's about 500,000 of internally displaced people. So basically, those are internal refugees. And as you can understand, all those people need housing. So there's a high demand of housing, and the prices for apartments went like twice higher. And a lot of construction companies are working on building new apartments in new blocks, new apartment, new housing in Lviv particular and Lviv region in general. So that obviously creates a great demand for the equipment, for the materials, for the workforce, for the new technologies in this sphere. Just for any of you that deal with these spheres, just keep that in mind. And also more than 230 relocated businesses means that there is also increased demand for the production and storage facilities. Also machinery to construct those and investments, and also increased demand for the logistics. What does that mean? That means that the production facilities, the companies, the big factories, they have moved their production from such cities as Dnipro, as Kharkiv, also from Kiev region to Lviv and Lviv region, which provides us all with opportunities to construct those facilities and to have this health to support these companies in their activities here. Significant war risks makes a lot of opportunities for those who are brave enough, and for those investors who are ready to purchase the distressed assets today, especially for the businesses who are getting away from Ukraine, or for example, for the beneficiary owners who are selling their businesses. So there's always a chance to get a good deal today. It's less in Lviv region, but more in the rest of Ukraine, but also can be possible to do here. And there is a huge demand for the real estate investment in Lviv region, which also means that a lot of companies are getting in construction business, and a lot of companies are getting into the development business. And obviously there is a high opportunities for the foreign companies to sell their technology, sell their goods, sell their equipment here in Ukraine, and especially in Western Ukraine. Energy instability, as Stanislav and Miroslava said, they caused another. It is a problem, but it's also opportunity for the companies who are involved in solar and wind energy businesses, and especially in solar batteries and electricity generating plants. So basically, those are equipment which provides independent solutions for the energy supply. And in Lviv region, we have the companies, you will meet them during your visit here, who had bought this equipment. This is very costly and huge equipment, but it's supporting them and helping them to conduct their operation here during all winter season and also in summer. And also high need for the energy grid protection technologies. And this is something which is very important today. As it was also mentioned, that we anticipate to become European Union members. And we are still in the process of integration, and we are in the process of changing our legislation and technical regulations in line with European Union. And it's also about ISO certification, it's preparation to enter new markets, it's about compliance, it's about new sustainable technologies, waste management, and data protection. So basically, Ukraine right now is on the way to comply and to make the business practices in line with the European demands. War damage to the real estate and infrastructure create a demand for the construction of new and modern infrastructure. Ukrainian infrastructure, the bridges, the roads, they were not in a very good condition. So there are plenty of new roads, as Markin said. There were a lot of new projects, especially in Western regions. But now we need more and more. And there's a high demand for new modern infrastructure and fast and sustainable decisions. And also about key trends of the construction market of Lviv region. There's developers from other Ukrainian regions are reorienting towards Ukraine, Lviv, as it is safer and developed region. And the main issue right now is speed. So basically, you have to prove and you have to launch the projects fast, because all construction projects right now in Ukraine, they're delayed. And there's a problem because it influences the investment possibilities, and the companies would rather choose something which is already ready. So if you can provide some technology which would help to solve the problem with the speeding and making the projects faster and more lasting, that would be a great solution. Also, the problems on the Ukrainian construction market and also on Lviv construction market is lack of financing. The loans in Ukraine, the banking loans, are very expensive. We have a very high percentage rate, and it's really hard to get international financing for the private companies. So collaboration with foreign investors, this is also a very good thing which you can consider in doing business in Ukraine and when seeing how to collaborate with Ukrainian companies. And as right now we don't have the state financing for the infrastructure project, or such is very limited, and also the regional administration financing or city financing for such infrastructure projects, they are on the pause. But we anticipate that after the war is end, or at least the ceasefire is in place, there will be renewals of new infrastructure project financed by the state. And the main question when you come here and represent yourself before Ukrainian companies, your potential clients or potential partners, would be why American company, why not Chinese company, why not European company? What is so special about your product, your technology? And the main issue is still the costs. So Ukrainian companies and Lviv companies are very concerned about the cost of the services, works, or technology or goods you are trying to supply, like with the solar energy, solar batteries. The most popular mean to get the solar batteries is to buy them from China. This is the biggest exporter of solar batteries to Ukraine. That's why, just to be prepared for such questions, there will be a necessity to answer why your products are better than Chinese products, which are several times cheaper, or European products, which are not cheaper, for example, but the logistics is better, and there is support with warranty, support with assembling, installation, etc. So this is to consider before the visit, and hopefully you will have the positive answers for those. I also present the map of western part of Ukraine. You can see Lviv on this picture. This is something that Markin also covered, so you can see the distances from Lviv to different cities, and it's only 30 miles away from the Polish border. So it's about safety, it's about logistics, and it's about infrastructure. So you can imagine that there is 10 crossing points with Poland, and it's only 200 miles to the closest biggest city, Krakow, where is international big airport. And that's logistics, and this geography made Lviv as the logistic hub for all warehouses, for all sales, for all goods transfer, and also for location of production here near Polish border, having opportunity to use Ukrainian labor force, less bureaucracy in regulation, but also being very close to the European Union border. That's the slide which presents the companies that potentially would like to attend our event in Lviv, and that might be the interest of you and maybe other companies that would consider coming to Lviv. And we will share this presentation and you can see those companies, but there are plenty of other companies that can be matched with you. So you see the companies in logistics. Mist Express, for example, is one of the biggest logistic companies which already operates in the United States. It was the first one to open in the United States for Ukrainians, basically with logistics. Construction company ABMK, Centro Ltd, this is about ecology and construction. Eco Optima and Horizonte, this is major companies in the sphere of solar energy, wind energy, and drilling oil and gas. And I think Miroslava mentioned that. Miroslava mentioned that a lot of companies has shifted their attention to the energy market. And Oko Group, for example, it is the biggest gas station chain in Ukraine, originating from Lviv. And right now they are developing the biggest wind plant in Western Ukraine in mountains. As Markan said, we have a mountain range here, Carpathian mountains. So they are a great example who also try to explore solar and wind energy opportunities, as well as, for example, AHP, which is a company on IPO, which was initially the agriculture company, but now it's industrial holding, also investing a lot in the modern technologies in the sphere of energy saving and sustainable energy. And that's something that shows the huge interest of the big holdings and smaller companies towards alternative energy. We have industrial parks, warehouses here that will be happy to meet you and to present their possibilities. Agricultural companies that have also developed the alternative energy, biogas, and solar panels, which supports them in their activities. A company in the sphere of concrete factory. The epicenter is the biggest retail and retailer in the sphere of do-it-yourself. Yeah, so they are selling the construction materials, but also they are selling a lot of other goods and services that can be related to the sphere of construction. Development companies who are constructing a residential property here in Lviv region, and obviously they would be interested in knowing about some technologies that you have that would support their businesses. So real estate and infrastructure market in Western Ukraine is growing. And actually today we have been participating in Lviv Build Forum, which gathered more than 200 people, and it was initially for 120 people, and there was a huge demand for the knowing more about these topics in regional businesses. And it was announced that there are a high possibility that it will be 10% of the local economy only in real estate. Trisha, I believe that the time is getting closer to over. Okay, so just a few last minutes. The warehouses in Lviv regions became very expensive, so it's a great idea to think about how you can contribute to those companies, as well as production relocation. That's a huge trend in Lviv region. You see the picture over here. A lot of companies were locating their production facilities on the border with Poland. And it used to be European companies. Now it's companies from the East, but all these companies, they need the construction materials, and there are still a high demand for that. Industrial parks is also a new great system that provides tax exemption and VAT exemption, custom duty exemption, and security for the companies. And no construction licenses are required anymore, but still it's very hard for foreign companies to start production without having the representative office and local partners. If you want to import something to Ukraine, there's a simple written agreement. It can be subject to US law, actually, and any disputes can be resolved in arbitration, international commercial arbitration. You have to think about assembling, warranty obligations, logistic insurance, terms of supply, payment. Payment can be made in US dollars, and basically a lot of details, but we all can discuss during the meeting. Just 1 second, because we have this agreement on establishing the US-Ukraine Recognition Investment Fund that was mentioned today. And the only news about this fund is that we have 2 pending tenders right now in Lviv, so you can apply for those. You can see the links for those in our presentation. The deadline is 19th of November. It's about having the sub-oil licenses to use these deposits under the product sharing agreements. So you can, in oil and gas block, so you can see, and if some company would go with this and would be interested, there are direct links for those tenders. Yep, so we are welcome. We are happy to welcome you here. We will be ready to adjust our agenda and to hear you, to get to know what would be your interest here in Lviv region, what companies you would like to know here. There's a huge team of people in GO-Biz, in Washington State, in the embassy, in the consulate, AHP in Lviv Regional Administration, who are really willing to help you to find partners here and start business, or just collaborate with Ukrainian companies, or at least help you to find more information about our region. Thank you, Trisha. Thank you, colleagues. If you have any questions, I'm ready here to stay and to answer those.
Thank you, Natalia, for that really great presentation, and we will definitely be sharing the slides. As has been mentioned multiple times throughout this webinar, California and Washington are leading a delegation of companies to Lviv and partnering very closely with Natalia and her team, with the Lviv Regional Government, and with our consultants, AHP International. Tammy and I will be putting information about how to register for this trade mission, and we're happy to follow up with any companies individually about that opportunity. So without further ado, being very conscious of time, I'm going to pass it over to our colleagues at AHP International, to Dima, who talk about specifically the trade mission and what that looks like. And Tammy and I will put details about how to register or follow up with us in the chat. Thank you, Dima.
Thank you, Trisha. Hello, everyone. I will sharing my screen. Can you see it?
Yes.
Good. So many thanks to the previous speakers for your insightful and valuable presentation. I'm Dmitro Pankratov, Territory Lead at AHP International in Ukraine. AHP International is a partner of the states of California and Washington for the Rebuild Ukraine conference. We have had an opportunity to work on similar projects in the past. The trade mission to Poland in Ukraine. So the whole trade mission consists of 2 modules. The module 1 in Poland, which includes group program, exhibiting at the show, arranging individual B2B meetings. And the module 2, Ukraine, is an extension to the program in Poland, which we are discussing today. It is a 2.5-day program focused on the Ukrainian market, providing a deeper dive into business opportunities and meeting with Ukrainian companies that are currently unable to travel across the border. So what will you expect in Lviv? During this trade program, you will take part in a group program, including a meeting with Lviv Regional State Administration and Lviv Investment and Project Office of the Lviv City Council, as well as site visits and individual B2B meetings arranged together with the Lviv-California Chamber of Commerce. The B2B meetings will be customized and aligned with your profiles and interests. These meetings will allow you to establish broader contacts through the connections of AHP International and local partners in Lviv. AHP International will arrange logistical support. So we will arrange a bus transfer from Warsaw to Lviv and from Lviv to Krakow. AHP representative will be traveling with the group. We have already booked a hotel, Leopolis, in downtown center. You have seen their shelter, so the hotel is pretty safe. And we also will take care about the local bus transfers within Lviv. We will also arrange lunches and help to book dinners at the recommended restaurants. So why you should join the program? There are some reasons why you should join. In Lviv, you will gain insights into market demand and business opportunities, connect with the key decision makers, and build C-level relations through B2B meetings and networking. You'll also link with chambers, associations, meet US business representatives, such as an embassy, AmCham, and join site visits across region to explore the opportunities. We will keep this presentation short, leaving some time for the questions. Here are my contact information. I'm looking forward to welcome you in Lviv. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dima. Appreciate that great presentation, and we are very much looking forward to a dynamic opportunity to explore and deep dive into a lot of the topics that were talked about here on the webinar. I know are over time, but if there are some specific questions, please raise your hand and we can take you off mute and you can take advantage of our deep panel of experts that we have here. Great. With no questions, if you do have questions, something comes to you in the meantime, our email, Tammy and my email are in the chat, and we are happy to field those to the right contact if we are not it. But we appreciate you being available today. We'll post, we will share with the folks on the call the slides and contact information for our colleagues in Lviv and the commercial service and at AHP, and we look forward to promoting American business, specifically California and Washington, in the region of Lviv and Ukraine in general. And we hope that we can bring you with us when we go to Lviv and Poland in November. So please, thank you for your time.